Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are joining us from around the world. Welcome back to Football Worldwide and to another edition of European Weekly Catch-Up. I'm your host, Jonathan, here, of course, always with my beautiful co-host, Bruno. All the leagues are back this week. How are you, my brother?
Look, it was fantastic to have La Liga, Bundesliga, and the English Premier League all return, each coming with some amazing stories. And we have a jam-packed episode for you today. For those who are watching on our visual platforms, you'll be able to see below what we'll be covering. But for those who are listening to our audio podcast, we will be covering EPL Matchday 1. We'll give a nice review of that, followed by La Liga, Bundesliga, and Ligue 1. Beautiful matchday reviews of all of those. And a matchday 2 review of Ligue 1, as well as a Serie A matchday 1 preview. Yes, the fifth giant is joining this weekend, and football will be back in full swing. We will be then doing our Around the Grounds ones to watch, a special announcement, and to all of our loyal fans out there, do not forget to like and subscribe to Football Worldwide. Support us. Let us know what you want us to do. But, Jonathan, it was a fantastic weekend, and it was something special. So let's go straight into it. Our first segment, the Premier League. All right, so we saw this week the return of the Premier League. Did you want to go through the results this far, and then we'll cover some of the main fixtures?
Yeah, let's go through the results so everyone knows what we're talking about here. So, first match was Brentford 2, Arsenal 0. Second one was Man United 5 beating Leeds United 1. Leicester City got the 3 points over Wolves where they won 1-0. Chelsea got 3 goals to Crystal Palace's 0. Watford back in the league at 3 goals over Aston Villa 2. Everton got 3 over Southampton 1. Burnley lost against Brighton 2-1. Norwich City back in the Premier League got 0 goals against a fast-paced Liverpool with 3 goals. Newcastle United 2, West Ham 4. And the final match, which was probably one of the biggest highlights, Tottenham 1 over Manchester City 0. Bruno, what an amazing first match day it was. Let's go through some of these fixtures, right?
Yeah, where do you want to start? We'll start from the top.
Yeah, let's start at the top. Let's let everyone know how it went.
Look, Brentford, they joined the league. Expectations weren't too high for them, but all eyes were on Arsenal. And you know what? It was you couldn't have predicted it. And it just seemed that fairy tale beginning for Brentford and that horror start for Arsenal. And I think the highlight will be on, Arteta, because he has been criticised in the past and then he manages to pull something out of the hat. But is this the one where he can't get away? Is this going to be our first Premier League manager who will fall under the pump? What do you think?
I think unfortunately he's welcome. He's worn his welcome with Arsenal now. To be honest, he's been there 18 months now. You still kind of get the feeling he doesn't technically know what his best side is. With that being the case, they signed Ben White, major signing in defence, and they leaked 2 goals against newly promoted Brentford. But you know what? They stepped up to the plate. They came to play Premier League football, and they did exactly that. So credit where credit's due. Brentford, amazing game. They done well. Some people might say this result was a bit of a surprise, but in the shambles that Arsenal are at the moment and how they have been for the past at least 12 months, a lot of people would say that they saw this coming.
Yeah, definitely. And I think from one amazing fixture to another, we saw Manchester United defeat Leeds 5-1. It was a masterclass for all those seen, and in the space of 18 minutes, Manchester United went from 1-1 to 5-1, and it was just goal after goal after goal. Ole is the big talking point. They had the Europa League final last season where it was painful because it ended up being a goalkeeper missing the final penalty kick. They went through 22 penalty shots, and it was the final one before they started all again. So that's one way to do it. But has Ole got the team in line? Jadon Sancho was on the bench, as well as Varane. An amazing announcement at the start of the game. Jonathan, I don't know, is he going to get the Manchester United wheels turning this season?
Look, I'm going to kind of step out of line here a little bit, to be perfectly honest. I actually don't rate Ole as a manager, to be perfectly honest. I think it's not so much him, but the quality of players he has on the park. And the reason why I say this, there are a few games last season where changes needed to be made. And as far as I could see, he could not read the game. He did not know what needed to be done to get that result that was needed, whether they were down or they needed a draw or something like that. I'm not saying he's a bad manager, but I think this result over the weekend shows, to me, it was the Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba show. It was more the class that was on the pitch than the manager's tactics. Be that as it may, that's just my opinion on it. So yeah, that's what I've got to say about Ole, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. We did see Jamie Vardy put on a show against the Wolves. It was a 1-0 win. He's that player that everyone just thought was a one-season wonder when Leicester won the Premier League. And he has just come through season after season, and he has shown that he is one of those consistent players. And he knocked back offers from Arsenal and Real Madrid because his heart is at Leicester, and that's where he wants to be. But is the wheels falling off for Wolves after Rui Patricio left, Espirito Santo left to go manage Tottenham? Are they really going to be struggling this season?
Look, to give Wolves they didn't play bad. They did not play bad. Like against Leicester, you got to take into account. To me personally, Brendan Rodgers is an amazing manager. I think he has been hard done by in some of his previous clubs that he's been at, and has been made a bit of a scapegoat to a certain extent. I believe the job that he's done at Leicester, especially last year in particular, you know, they made the Champions League. You know what I mean? They were there. They were pretty much there all season. So by all means, they did not show a poor account of themselves. And I've got them sitting in top 4 again this season, to be perfectly honest, because I think that Brendan Rodgers, he just knows how to manage his team and get the best out of his players. So I think, Wolves did themselves proud. But in saying that, it was on that night, it was just, it was Leicester and just a well-managed team.
Yeah, look, going from one well-managed team to another, Chelsea. Tuchel has his ducks in a row there. They had a phenomenal game. It was one of the most complete 90 minutes of football that I have seen, to be honest. They didn't take their foot off the pedal. Whenever Crystal showed some form of attack or they started to turn the game into their favor, they would just change it up altogether. And a beautiful free kick goal from Marcos Alonso just brought back memories of his glory days, some would say. But there was definitely what I would say goal of the season contender from their defender on debut. So, mind you, this player has been in the Chelsea Academy for some time. He has been around. He's a great friend of the midfielder Mason Mount.
Mm-hmm.
His name is, I don't want to mispronounce it, but it is Chalobah. All right. It was a great goal from outside the box. Is the best still to come with Chelsea. It was a great dominant performance. I think they're the most complete team there, and they've still got a player to come.
they've got their biggest signing, 97.5 million pound in Romelu Lukaku still to come into the squad to be, like I said last week, probably that last piece of the puzzle that they've been missing as a number 9, a strike man, a target man up front who can put them in the back of the net. Look, I got to agree with you there in the sense, to me, Chelsea are probably the most complete team in the Premier League now, balanced well, from front to back. Once you've got Lukaku up the top now, front, midfield, and back, I just see them as the most complete team, to be perfectly honest. And we saw what they did in the last 6 months of last season, how that amazing run they went to beat Manchester City 3 times, and then also to win the Champions League as they did. So they've done an amazing job. And to go from one great manager to another, Bruno, Norwich versus Liverpool, what a great game this was. You know, Salah making history to become the first player in Premier League history to score in the opening match day for 5 years in a row. That's just an amazing stat right there. Did you catch much of this game, Bruno?
Look, I was quite excited to see Timo Pukki return back to the Premier League. He had amazing form 2 seasons ago with Norwich, and he had amazing form last season in the Championship, but it wasn't their day. In regards to Liverpool, it was just a clinic. Virgil van Dijk's return, there was a lot of speculation. Will he be as good as what he was last season and before his injury? And the answer is yes, definitely. It was something to be reckoned with, this Liverpool side. And I made the prediction that last season's top 4 in Manchester City, Manchester United, Chelsea, and Liverpool will be the top 4 again this season. But I refuse to predict who will win, because of the simple fact is a lot of these teams have improved, not just by a little bit, but immensely. With the signings of Lukaku for Chelsea, Grealish, and potentially Kane for Manchester City, which we will get to very shortly. Liverpool have had some signings in the midfield, which we will cover when we're talking Germany. But at the same time, Manchester United's got Varane and Jadon Sancho as well. So you do have these teams growing and expanding at a rate which the rest of the Premier League cannot keep up with. Who will win? Liverpool just put their hand up to say we're going to be there as well. I think the top 4 this week that I predicted, including Manchester City, all showed where they're going to be at the end of the season. So without further ado, let's cover the Manchester City fixture. They did lose 1-0 to Tottenham, but I don't think it was a defining moment in Manchester City's season at all. I honestly think that it was something that we did not expect to see, and the result caught people off guard, but there was also a lot of rumor around what was happening in this fixture. Again, you look at it and you're like, well, City do need that number 9, and that number 9 has been touted as Harry Kane. And you look at the stats, they don't tell the story of the game. And before I hand it to you, Jonathan, to cover the most expensive Premier League English player signing and how he performed, the stats said it was quite an even game. And for those who did watch the fixture, they would see it was completely the opposite. The referee did lose control of the game by not awarding free kicks and not giving out yellow cards early in the first half. So the players started to get a bit reckless. And Manchester City won't have a high level of shots on goal simply for the fact that they convert a lot of their shots on goals to goals. And they played with the ball well. They were caught off guard by a counter-attack, and Son put the ball in the back of the net. But it was phenomenal in the performance, and you know where Manchester City is going. And if they do get this Harry Kane in their number 9, it will be a fantastic thing. There are rumours. Before I hand to you, of Ronaldo leaving Juventus and going to Manchester City, which I stress to you are rumors, but again, that will solve their number 9 problems. Jonathan Grealish, the £100 million man, one of the most expensive signings in Premier League history. How did he perform?
Tell you what, in my opinion, he looked anything but like £100 million man. Yeah, for me, mate, I was expecting more. I don't know if it was because, look, you told me, look, he had a great Euro in the sense of he committed, he stepped up when he was at Aston Villa. He performed. That's why he wanted that big jump move. He got it. Again, how he went the week before against Leicester in what was it? Was it the Community
Shield final?
Community Shield. I know he only came on the last couple of minutes, but you got to remember, you got that number 10 on your back. You got to be a game changer. Now, how it was and how I thought that he performed, I just did not see that to me, I expected more. That was.
Yeah, look, I agree. You expect more, but at the same time, De Bruyne wasn't on the field. They started,
Correct.
And I mentioned this in the Everything EPL show. It was the most expensive starting lineup in Premier League history. It was around £500 million, over $1 billion Australian. Now, you look at it like that, they should have performed. But he is a new player in a new system under one of the most accoladed managers of all time, with still arguably one of the best midfielders in the world at this current point in time on the bench. So I still think the best is yet to come.
I don't doubt that, but I was exactly like you thought. When De Bruyne came on, he changed the game. He instantly shows that class. I kind of expected Grealish to have a bit more influence on the game, especially for the price that they paid for him and so forth. So in saying that, I just kind of expected a little bit more, and I don't feel like I got that with his performance there.
Yeah, well, look, we'll move on. So it was 10 games this week for 10 winners and 10 losers. There were no draws in the Premier League this week, and it's a very rare sight if you see one. But next week, we do have some, I would say, great fixtures ahead of us in the English Premier League. So Liverpool will be kicking it off against Burnley. Aston Villa will play host to Newcastle. One of my matches of the round in the Premier League would be Crystal Palace hosting Brentford. We want to see those two teams take it onto each other. Another one, Leeds versus Everton. Manchester City, Norwich, Brighton, Watford. Southampton takes on Manchester United. Wolves and Tottenham, and Arsenal take on Chelsea, as well as West Ham and Leicester to wrap it up. So next, we will be covering La Liga. So without further ado, let's move on to La Liga. It was an amazing match week in my eyes. Jonathan, I think that life after Messi didn't look too bad. Apparently, it wasn't something to shy past. But while I get the results up, let's just have a look here, Jonathan. It was one of those fixture weeks where the scores just aligned.
Yeah, as you can see there, Valencia 1-0 over Getafe. Mallorca 1 versus Real Betis 1, so that was a draw there. Sadias 1 versus Levante 1. Alvarez 1 again, lost to Real Madrid 4. Osasuna and Espanyol played a 0-0 draw. Celta Vigo lost to Atletico Madrid 2-1. Barcelona with an amazing performance 4 over Real Sociedad 2. Sevilla 3 over Real Valencia 3-0. Villarreal and Granada played a 0-0 draw, and Elche and Athletic Club was 0-0 also. Bruno, some of these matches, I'll tell you what, it did not disappoint. The first one I'd like to get into, if we can, Real Madrid over Alvarez, 4-1, mate. Man of the match here, Benzema. He was on target, and what a performance he had. I was just impressed to see him back to his scoring ways, and he just, he was everywhere. He was just so lethal inside the box. What did you think of this one, Bruno?
Look, I think Benzema was fantastic. Alaba not returned. Alaba joins. He played a great game, and you also got to give credit to Eden Hazard, who hasn't had a fantastic performance in a Real Madrid jersey for a long time. But you look at the squad, and you look at the manager. Ancelotti's returned for his second stint there, and they've come out 4-1 winners. It was great to see Gareth Bale back on the pitch for Real Madrid. It just brought back, it was a nostalgic feeling because there was so much happening there. But like you said, Benzema, he just seems to be, since Ronaldo left, he has taken the goal scoring role at that club, and he has just transformed it and made it his own. He has just dominated in that single position to ensure that his team don't fall behind, and it was fantastic. But let's not dwell on Real Madrid, and let's move to the other team from Madrid, Atletico Madrid, who were the champions last season, winning 2-1 to Celta Vigo. It wasn't a game that lacked entertainment.
No, it was such a good game.
A lot of the entertainment came in the 95th minute, where 2 red cards were awarded for a little bust up after a tackle on Luis Suarez, but one from each team. So we do have 2 players missing next week. But what a performance! What do you think? Is this the Atletico Madrid that we will see moving forward, taking on these teams and taking it to them?
Yeah, this was an entertaining game. This was probably the one I said last week that I thought was a guaranteed win for Atletico, and they showed. But Correa, sorry, that double he scored. Oh, how good were those goals? In all seriousness, they were just unreal. And this game was it was nonstop. The intensity was there. You're gonna think that a lot of the, Atletico being the champions over, as they did win last year, that they were going to cruise easy. But Celta Vigo, mate, they did not shy. They did not let themselves down by any means. They really stepped up to the plate, and they played quite well. So I was really impressed with this game. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was actually a really good game to watch, to be honest. I hope everyone else got to watch this one as well.
Yeah, and look, definitely, Correa had a fantastic offseason, winning the Copa Americas with Argentina. And we did not get a full match from Rodrigo de Paul, which we are looking forward to. So that's only going to strengthen the squad, as well as Luis Suarez, who did not play the full fixture either. I think he came on with about half an hour to go. Moving on to what I thought was a statement, and a statement at that. Barcelona, their first game post-Messi era in the league. We saw them win against Juventus in a friendly, but this is next level. And they came out 4-2. But I know you watched it, and you know what? Memphis had a great start, but there was a star that shone better than him.
This player, he has gotten so much slack, but Braithwaite, what a performance. Those 2 goals and an assist, what an absolute performance he played. The link-up play and the runs he was making just inside the box, setting up, chasing the ball down. I don't know if he had a rocket up him and wanted to make a statement on his own, but the whole Barcelona team was hungry. By all means, they were there to show that they were there to play. And as it was announced just before the game, Gerard Piqué taking a pay cut so that Memphis Depay and the other signings were able to play and be registered in time for this game. So that was an amazing statement from the captain. And I know that he mentioned that some of the other captains, because I think they've got a couple of captains, they're a joint captaincy there, we're going to follow and do the same thing. So just an amazing performance by, life without Messi goes on. Bruno, what did you think of the game?
Oh, look, I think it was phenomenal, and I am looking forward to when these top four teams clash because, like I said last week, the La Liga is one of those few leagues where you have a competitive season, but it is limited to 3 or 4 teams. And I just think the fourth team being Sevilla, who were 3-0 victors to Rayo Vallecano. It was a beautiful fixture where Zinedine Zidane's son, Luka Zidane, got a red card after, 3 minutes?
No.
16 minutes.
Yeah.
16 minutes. The 3 minutes was another fixture. 3 minutes was the Valencia game. And I just think that, you know what, this team is always that they were back-to-back Europa League champions. Now, it might be the second-tier competition, but you're still champions, and we've seen some of the finalists in the last couple of years. They beat Serie A champions Juventus. You saw when Manchester United lose to Villarreal last season.
Yeah.
So, it is quite the statement to make, but their new signing, he played out of his heart, didn't he?
Mate, was it a double? I think it was.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
a double he scored straight from Tottenham. What an absolute! Just you think he'd be the chemistry and that they had during this game. You thought that they'd been playing for a couple of years, all of them together. I'm just the name. His name's off the tip of my tongue, Bruno. What was his name again? Lamela. That's the one. Sorry, mate. Thanks for helping me there, mate. I've always been a fan of his, to be perfectly honest. I thought he got always a bit of a raw deal at Tottenham, and I've always liked him. He's got a lot of quality, but I think he's really suited to the La Liga, and he's able to really show his true traits. And in that Sevilla team, he can really shine. So I'm very eager to see what more he can do this season for them. So Bruno, what else do we have for La Liga coming up this weekend?
Yeah, so La Liga, it doesn't stop there. We did see some amazing fixtures last week, but we have Real Betis who host Cadiz. Alaves take on Mallorca, which is what I would say a great fixture for the bottom half of the table. Espanyol host Villarreal. Granada take on Valencia. Athletic Club Bilbao, however you want to take it, take on Barcelona, which is a fantastic fixture. Real Sociedad take on Rayo Vallecano. Atletico Madrid take on Elche. Levante to host Real Madrid. Getafe to host Sevilla. And Osasuna wrap it up against Celta Vigo. So it was a great week, and it predicts a great coming season. It's going to be a nice season and a very competitive season in that, to say the least. But we move on.
We do.
And we move on to the next one, and that is the Bundesliga. So without further ado, what a week we had. And it was, again, there were some surprises as well as some expected results. And some of the expected results just went above and beyond, to be honest. Like, you did not expect teams to dominate the way they did and perform the way they did. But without further ado, here are the match day 1 results for the Bundesliga. Mönchengladbach.
Yep.
Yeah, no problems. Mönchengladbach, with the surprise of the round, took a 1-1 draw with Bayern Munich, current champions. Union Berlin and Leverkusen split it as well with 1-1 result. Augsburg got absolutely hammered by Hoffenheim 4-0. Irmania versus Freiburg 0-0 draw. Wolfsburg returning to winning ways against Bochum 1-0. Stuttgart showed who is boss in the Bundesliga, winning 5-1 against Gütersloh. Dortmund, and we will cover this nicely, but 5-2 against Frankfurt. Mainz with the surprise of the round. And Jonathan will cover why against RB Leipzig 1-0. And to wrap it up, Köln beat Hertha Berlin 3-1. So, Jonathan, take it away with the first fixture of Mönchengladbach and Bayern Munich. Was it a surprise?
Yeah, sorry. No, you go.
Was it a surprise in your eyes, or was it written in the stars?
No, this was a surprise for me. I thought, in all seriousness, Bayern were going to absolutely pump Mönchengladbach, being, showing who their star quality of who they have on the park. Mönchengladbach, as we had mentioned previously, they are no pushover by all means. But when you're coming up against Bayern Munich, you got to think that it's almost a guaranteed 3 points for Bayern every week, how far they normally win the league by. Bayern Munich should have won this game probably 3 or 4-1. Mönchengladbach's goalkeeper, Sommer, had probably what I've seen as the game of his life. He made 3 or 4 absolute perler saves where I don't even not even just a save, but backing it up 2 or 3 in a row type thing for at certain points. He was everywhere. He was just jumping and throwing himself and his body around. Just great awareness and in getting himself back up to where he needed to be. Probably one of the best performances I've seen for a goalkeeper in quite a while. What did you think about this one, Bruno?
Look, sometimes your goalkeeper is your man of the match and they win it for you. But at the end of the day, we do have, and this is being filmed prior to the fixture and will be released just after the fixture because unfortunately there is editing, but there is the German Super Cup, which is taking place in approximately 6 hours Australian time. So it is an accolade for Bayern Munich. And did they have that on their mind moving into it? Possibly. But let's not dwell on that. Borussia Dortmund beat Frankfurt 5-2. Now, yeah, it was 5-2, but at the same time, it was a late goal to Frankfurt where the score potentially doesn't reflect the actual result. But I think they should rename Borussia Dortmund to Erling Haaland, to be honest, because my gosh, we understand Chelsea wanted him and we understand they were willing to throw money at him and lots of it, but he had the performance that we have become so accustomed to and we have seen so frequently. It was 2 goals, 2 assists, but my gosh, he is a wonder to modern day football. And I just think as long as he is fit, Dortmund will play well.
It just goes to show, like, you've got those special players who we always aspire to, us growing up, to the tail end of their career. Obviously, Messi, Ronaldo. Before that, we're privileged with Ronaldinho, Kaká, and all previous greats before them. Haaland, in my mind, and you probably agree with this too, Bruno. He's just a special player. He steps onto that field and gives his all. He is just so invested into this team, and he actually came out during the off season or a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, and saying how much he loves playing for Borussia Dortmund and wanted to be there and wanted to stay there. It's just a true look. In all seriousness, there's obviously going to come a time where Borussia Dortmund aren't going to be able to refuse the money that they're going to be thrown at them for him. But until then, what a joy he is to watch, and what a performance he's put in. With as I mentioned the other day, Marco Reus fit again, putting the through balls and so forth, and the link-up play him and Haaland have and the understanding they already have together. It's just a privilege to absolutely watch, and we're so blessed to be able to see such a caliber of this player perform on such a high level.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was a fantastic fixture. And you know what? Frankfurt, they're not the Frankfurt we're used to seeing. They got knocked out by a third division team in the German domestic cup. And look, a consolation, their new signing Horg from AC Milan did score a goal. So potentially he could kickstart their season for them. But RB Leipzig lost to Mainz 1-0. Now, I know you've got a lot to say about this. All I'm going to say about this fixture is Mainz on their goal line. My gosh, it was a beautiful sight, but it was painful if you were an RB Leipzig fan.
I remember contacting you just before this game was going, I think the day before, and I said, Bruno, Mainz has got 14 players hit with corona. And we thought, no, RB Leipzig is going to walk this in. What a disruption. Obviously, when your club goes through something like this, whether it be players, coaching staff, whatever, we had a lot of teams go through it last year. To have 14 squad members being, trainers and so forth, even if they're not in all of you in your starting 11, it disrupts your preparation for the game, of course. Mainz, that game they played, the heart, the spirit, they wanted it. They were so hungry for it. They were chasing every ball. I've never seen so many midfielders and defenders throw their complete bodies onto a line just to block shots and so forth. It was just a performance to just be inspired by. If you're a Mainz supporter, by all means, you got to take your hat off to your team, because you must be so proud after the performance they put in. The manager didn't even want to take the defenders off. When was the first substitute? I think we had it marked down. It was in the 86th minute.
Yeah, so, 86 minutes.
Yeah, Bruno, doesn't that just show the performance that they had put? I think you had also mentioned that something that the commentators mentioned, that the players didn't even look tired. They were just kept wanting to run. They didn't even want to come off. So,
yeah, look, I think it was a fantastic performance on Mainz's behalf. And sometimes heart and soul wins you games, even though Leipzig may have been a better team on the day. But 1-0 defensively, they lost Dayot to Bayern Munich for the price of 42 million and Konate to Liverpool for 40 million. Both centre-backs were taken out of this team at the start of the season. My question is, and it's probably something we will move into deeper into the season, but is this something that the squad can recover from? Because at the end of the day, sometimes you can't just recover when you lose two centre-backs. We saw Real Madrid do it with Ramos and Varane leaving, but I don't know. They may be able to, but we'll go through quickly, just cover the fixtures for the Bundesliga. We've got RB Leipzig hosting Stuttgart this week, Bochum and Mainz. Frankfurt take on Augsburg. Freiburg take on Dortmund. Gufferfurth take on Bielefeld. Hertha Berlin, Wolfsburg. Leverkusen will play host to Mönchengladbach. Keep an eye on that fixture because it will be a great one. Hoffenheim will host Union Berlin, and Bayern Munich will take on Holm. But up to the final leg, and Leg 1 will change their name to Lega Messi eventually because the hype was unreal. But let's get into it. Jonathan, we didn't see the players start, but you can tell after the first two rounds, this season is going to be something special in the French league because it's entertainment, and it's entertainment to the highest degree.
It's definitely something that if you're not familiar with the league, it's definitely something that you need to get into, Bruno. Some of these matches, as they let's go through the match of the results of what's happened. Bruno, can you want to take that one away?
Okay, I will. No worries. Lorient defeated Monaco surprisingly in a 1-0. One of the more surprising fixtures was Lille hosted Nice and lost 4-0. PSG were walk in the park 4-2 against Strasbourg. Agnes won 3-0 to Lyon, another surprise. Reims and Montpellier played out a 3-3 goal fest. Nantes defeated Metz 2-0. Clermont-Foot, they continue to impress and they beat Troyes 2-0. Brest and Rennes, a 1-1 draw. Lens, Saint-Etienne, and Marseille took on Bordeaux, both for a 2-2 draw. But Jonathan, let's start with the former champs. 4-0 against Nice, who played terribly in Matchday 1. What's happening?
Look, you got to take it two major things. Two major things. Dante for Nice, their centre back, had an absolute huge pearl of a game. He was not. Look, Nice actually didn't. Lille didn't actually create too much. But in saying that, Dante was everywhere, just taking everything and making sure that nothing was getting through him. He was an absolute beast. But Bruno, as you alluded to earlier on, the losses that Lille have had in the off season, your starting goalkeeper and your center midfielder. Is it starting to show? Is it really starting to show that those losses were too big and they haven't replaced them with adequate replacements?
Look, I think yes, but at the same time, Lille were never expected to win the league last season, and I think that I wouldn't call it a fluke, but a once in a lifetime when you've got a team like PSG who is so dominant in that league. They took everyone by surprise. Are they returning to where they're meant to be? Potentially. Definitely potentially. I think there is the great possibility that is what it is. But also the champion's curse. You'd expect a bit of a better performance when your fans are finally back into the stadium. You're playing at home in front of your home fans. You'd expect something more of them. But look, I think, Champions Curse probably played a big part in all of this, superstitious or not. It was just something that, I don't know, I'm trying to find excuses for them. And you know what? We'll go from one disappointment to another. Lyon. Jonathan, it was something, it was something to watch. And Agnes is not the most challenging of teams in regards to competition-wise, but you alluded to it last week and the week before. Is the loss of Depay finally getting to him?
I said that they were my pick to probably miss out on the top 4 at the beginning on our first episode, because I just thought Memphis Depay was too big of a loss. And to me, it's starting to show. They're struggling to score. They're potent. There's nothing there. Like they had 3 scored against them. Like, the defense is one thing, but you're not even converting your chances. You don't even look like converting your chances. It's Bruno, is the European dream fading? In all seriousness, they're going to be playing European football this year as well. So how are they going to cope between the two? Do they prioritize Europe over the league? What do you think?
Look, I don't think they prioritize Europe over the league, only because they're not going to go far in Europe. We all know that. And they need to be able to stamp their dominance in for next season, because that's how you secure signings and lure players to your club. But look, I think the less said on them, the better. It is a long season and there is plenty more football to come. So potentially there is room for a lot of improvement there. But a team which you think doesn't need to improve and can only improve. PSG, since we last presented a video, they've signed Messi officially, but PSG won 4-2. They were up 3-0 at halftime, virtually game over. but they only started 2 of their new signings in Hakimi and
Mm.
Ronaldo. What happens with Donnarumma, Ramos, and Messi? What happens, Jonathan?
Well, one, there's a lot of egos on that field then, that's for sure. So, mate, I wouldn't want to be Pochettino trying to manage all of those players. But look, from everything that's been said, everyone seems to love him. Pochettino was the main reason why Messi also came over to PSG with the Argentinian connection and so forth. PSG were up 3-0 before Strasbourg had scored 2 goals. So it was 3-2 in the 64th minute before PSG put that 4th one in. Hakimi again, what a signing, what a quality player. We're both personal fans of his as well. And he just continues to inspire, and you can see why they spent 70 million plus bonuses on him. So no, he's definitely they're gonna be a very dangerous team coming into Europe and so forth. So Bruno, I think taking it from there, what's the fixtures we got coming up for Ligue 1 as well here this week?
Brest, no worries. We'll probably see the debut of Lionel Messi in the Premier League as Brest will host PSG. Monaco will then host Lens, followed by Saint-Étienne and Lille. Lyon will host Clermont-Foot, which will be a cracker game. Bordeaux and Agnes. Metz will host Reims. Montpellier, Lorient. Strasbourg will take on Troyes. Rennes will play host to Nantes, and Nice will then wrap it up against Marseille in the final round. But that is all we have for in regards to League One. We have a league returning this week. Jonathan, I'm going to get the fixtures up.
Bring
You
it
tell
up.
me, who is the personally, we are great fans of this, but as I bring them up now, the fixtures for the Serie A, there they are. So, sorry for that, guys. But there are the fixtures. We're just going to go through them quickly. There's some great games there because we do have a couple more things to touch on. But, Jonathan, run us through the fixtures for match day 1 and highlight one fixture you're looking forward to.
So the reigning 19-time Serie A champions, Inter Milan, are hosting Genoa. Next one is Hellas Verona take on Sassuolo. Empoli into Lazio. Torino are at home to Atalanta. Udinese host Juventus. Bologna versus the newly promoted Salernitana. Roma versus Fiorentina. What a cracker that's going to be. Napoli versus the next promoted side, Venezia. Cagliari versus Spezia. And Sampdoria versus Milan. Sorry, the third one was promoted was Empoli, that I forgot to mention earlier. Serie A's back, Bruno, one of our personal favorite leagues. And, mate, let's just say I just can't wait, to be honest. It's one of those ones that we always love to watch. We like to catch a lot of these games and all that. What are you thinking, mate?
Look, I think there's a lot of change in the Serie A. You've had a lot of management change, and we've mentioned it before. But catch us next week when we discuss. Catch Serie A Roundtable. They did just release an episode which will cover the match day 1 preview more intensely, as well as everything EPL. But look, without further ado, 2 of our most favorite segments coming up. The first one being, our outside of top 5 leagues. So, Jonathan, are you going to lead us with this one?
Yes, I will. Thank you, Bruno. So, our around the grounds this week for me is in the Portuguese league. Benfica is versing Vincent Barcelos. So that is second versus third. Both of them have got opened up their campaigns with wins. So that's definitely going to be one to watch for me. What about your one for this week, Bruno?
Yeah, look, I'm taking it outside of Europe altogether into the Copa Libertadores. And it is Atletico Minao, I think it's pronounced. I don't know. I don't want to mispronounce it, against River Plate. And I just think, if you're going to watch outside of Europe, that's probably your one to watch. But let's now move into ones to watch.
Bruno, why don't you take it first? What's your one to watch this week?
Look, last week I gave you two cracker fixtures. I gave you the Tottenham and Man City fixture as well as the Manchester United Leeds, and it did not disappoint. This week it is a bit tougher. I would say PSG breath just to see Messi, come into the league. But if you're looking at stature and if you're looking for some rich history in these clubs, you're looking at Chelsea and Arsenal. They didn't start too well, but it will be a defining moment in both of these clubs' season. What about you, Jonathan?
Mine is into the Serie A, and I have to give it to Roma and Fiorentina, the special one back in Italy and taking the reign at Roma. What an amazing... We know what Jose Mourinho is and how he is with his personality and so forth, and also Fiorentina with their new manager of Italiano coming from what's the name of him again, Bruno? Please, Spezia. That was. Thank you so much, mate. So yeah, that's got to be my one to watch. So let's go from there. Bruno, you've got a special announcement for everyone.
Yes. So here at Football Worldwide, we take our football serious, and you can't be a footballing channel without covering the UEFA Champions League. So whilst I will be announcing that, yes, there will be a Champions League show, and we will be showing that on match weeks of the Champions League, I will also be announcing that with a couple of special guests, which names will not be dropped as of yet, we will be also doing a live stream of the pots and the draw of the Champions League group stage. So we'll be covering, we clearly won't be showing it due to copyright issues, but myself and a panel will be covering and discussing as the pot is happening live. We'd love to have you all in the chat discussing with us. So keep an eye out for that. It will be in Australia, next Thursday in Australia, next Wednesday in Europe, 6 o'clock European time, I believe.
I believe it's 1 or 2 a.m. for us, so we'll be sure to make it. We'll be up to then. Yeah, so hey,
definitely. So keep an eye out.
Commitment to the cause. This is what we want to do. This is what we love, guys. Another amazing episode. Really happy how we got across everything, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up on the channel, on the video, and thank you for joining us again. We'll be sure to catch you next week. Ciao.
Ciao.